Can anybody in this world get lean enough to have six-pack abs be visible? The answer may surprise you, but that's what we're going to go deep into in this video. So stick around and let's go. What's up, everyone? In today's video, does every person in this world, is it absolutely possible for them to get six-pack lean? And the answer is yes, it absolutely is. It all comes down to long enough, properly, dieting and training for long enough. So I've probably said this a million times before, there are two phases that I take my clients through when we start working together. Phase one is from wherever they are now to when they are lean enough. And this is usually a couple of months. 3 to 6 months is more than enough for most people out there to be completely transformed. What happens after that is, again, it depends on if somebody has a little bit more body fat, they may need a bit more than 6 months, but most people, 3 to 6 months, they can get their body fat percentage low enough so that you become lean enough so that you can actually have visible six-pack abs. So is it possible for everybody? Yes. There are zero reasons, why you, wherever you are right now, that you wouldn't be able to get to six-pack lean, especially if you're a man. If you're a woman, you don't need to be that lean. But again, if you want to, you still can, okay? It's for men, generally speaking, somewhere between 10 and 12% body fat, like actual 10 to 12% body fat, you will have visible abs. For women, it's probably teens, like, 17, 18%, something like that, body fat for women. Okay. Now, within that, you simply have to be on a proper calorie deficit diet for long enough in order to get lean enough to have visible abs. Now, there are people who are relatively lean but don't have abs, and this is relatively rare, but it does happen. For example, you've probably seen The Rock, and everybody says, how can he be so shredded and, this great body, which he does have, certainly, but he has no abs, like no six-pack abs, like, visibly, separated one from the other. You can actually see that he barely has like 2 or 4 packs, something like that. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one is genetics. You simply have genetics that we can't change. If somebody has genes such that their abs are simply not that visible, even if they're lean enough, nothing you can do. Yes, you can get leaner. You can actually try to train the abs, but it's probably not going to go that far. If that's genes, there's not much we can do. Okay, that's number one. Number two, the age of the individuals. As we get older, some body parts simply don't look as good as they did when you were in your 20s, and maybe you're now in your 40s. Maybe your abs are not going to look as good, even if you are at the same level of leanness. I can absolutely confirm that. When I was 20 years old versus now, when this year I'm going to be 40 years old, my abs don't look the same, even if I am at the same leanness level. And then three, a lot of these things that you can see with The Rock and, some Hollywood actors and people who are, like their livelihood and whatever they do depends on their looks. So, Hollywood actors, fitness influencers on YouTube, Instagram, they're basically on all the steroids in the world. How can this, especially when somebody abuses, like growth hormone, things like that, they can have this bubble butt and bubble gut, right? Where essentially it changes how one's overall core area looks like from the abuse of steroids. Now, of course, for us natural lifters, that doesn't matter, but this is actually very common in that world because remember, fitness influencers and Hollywood actors and, people like The Rock, they're on all the steroids in the world that exist for like 30 years. So certainly that can and probably does have an impact in how they actually visibly look, right? So the other day, somebody asked me, a client of mine, how is it possible that The Rock is not shredded? And I'm like, he is shredded, but he's not as lean as you would think, number one. So he's not at like single-digit body fat percent, and he's abused all the steroids for probably, like majority of his life, right? So when you look at these things, you can see how or why somebody like him does not have a shredded six-pack. But again, can everybody get to that level of leanness where the abs are visible? Absolutely yes. Well, and then last thing on, should you be training abs? I am not a huge proponent of training them, even though they're a muscle group just like all the other ones. So you can train them, but a lot of direct ab work, I really rarely give to my clients initially when they're just starting out. I would suggest some kind of base core strength to be built. And you can use, just a plank on the floor, 3D plank, you know, like go from the regular plank to one side and then the other side, and maybe some, you know, crunches or leg raises initially, but later on as you start doing, you know, heavy compound lifts, and or for example, one of the best core exercises is a single leg Romanian deadlift with heavy dumbbells, or even overhead tricep extension. Your abs are going to be working really hard to stabilize that movement and do the exercise properly. So your core gets trained a lot with a lot of other different exercises you do. So I don't really see a need to like train the core specifically that much. Maybe if you want to do, you know, 2, 3, 4 sets as a part of a certain workout once a week, nothing wrong with that. But generally speaking, you don't need to be like killing yourself with 1,000, you know, crunches. That's not the way to get abs. The way to get abs, you know, you probably heard a million times, abs are made in the kitchen. They truly are. You just have to diet properly, be in a proper calorie deficit for long enough until you get lean enough for your abs to be visible. So hope you liked this video. If you did, click the like button below. And if you haven't subscribed already, smash that subscribe button, because on this channel, you're going to learn how to build a strong, healthy, high-performing body as a successful kick-ass entrepreneur without all the BS that this industry is based on, such as steroids, starvation, cutting out carbs, or, you know, cutting out complete food groups. None of that is necessary. You can actually have a life and enjoy it and have a great physique at the same time. So guys, thank you for watching. See you next time.